guess we can talk about Going to Pieces.
The rise and fall of the slasher film. Right. This was based, if I'm not mistaken, on a film by a guy, or a book by a guy by the name of Adam Rockoff.
Yeah. He'll knock your rocks off.
It is a documentary about just what we said, the rise and fall of slasher films throughout the 80s and into the 90s and the new millennium. The thing that makes it one of the better documentaries like this, besides the fact that I really love slasher films, is they interview some of the most obscure people that I wouldn't really think that they would. They interview people like Fred Walton, who's the guy behind When a Stranger Calls and April Fool's Day. They interview the guy, Paul Lynch, who was the guy behind Prom Night.
That was surprising.
Yeah. They interview, Amy
Zito.
Holden Jones, who was behind Slumber Party Massacre. Yeah, Joseph Zito from The Prowler, and, he's Friday 13th, Part 4.
Yeah, the producer from My Bloody Valentine.
Yeah, which he had some great stories.
I guess they couldn't find George Mahalker, who didn't want to do it one. So.
Probably not. But just some of those people and the stories that they tell, and there's on this edition, there's extended interviews with some of these people, too. I know Joe Stefano is one of the guys that has an extended interview. He's the guy that wrote Psycho, and talking about Alfred Hitchcock and what went on. Right. But as for the documentary itself, it's a timeline, basically. It goes chronologically. Starts with the 80s. And the kind of films that, it has a brief...
Well, yeah, it really starts with, I guess, what was the Peeping Tom and then Psycho.
Yeah, I was going to say it has a brief introduction.
It pretty much goes straight to Halloween, then, all the Friday the 13th knockoffs.
I think there's something in there that about the theater and the grand stuff.
They have like a really... I don't know, I guess you'd call it a little bit pretentious. They try to overly explain things sometimes. And the beginning is like one example of that, because they talk about the people in the 1800s. They would go all the way back to the 1800s, and people would go to these violent stage shows and stuff like that.
There's really,
which you don't need to include.
I can tell you this, though. The majority of what they talk about goes on in the early to late 80s.
Actually, early to mid 80s, I would say, because they spend most of the time talking about shit that went on from Halloween to like 1984, 85. Like they talk about Silent Night, Deadly Night towards the end of the movie. So I know
that some of the things that they cover in the documentary, though, as far as themes, is you've got the theme of the lone woman survivor. They talk about that and why that came to be. You got the I want to say Ebert and Roper, but it's Siskel and Ebert back then. You got their big controversy about why they hated slasher films, and actually has excerpts from the interview they did about why they hate slasher films.
They dedicated a whole goddamn show back then about that.
You've got the controversy about Silent Night, Deadly Night, which was a big controversy about the Santa Claus.
And they have actually, if you're a big Tom Savini fan, they talk to him a lot about, he was involved in a ton of these slasher movies, like, The Burning, The Prowler and stuff, so Friday the 13th and all that stuff. So, he talks about that. You really go into tons and tons of movies.
I know, Felissa Rose is in it. I mean, there's a lot of people, so many people like it. Lillian Siobhan is in it.
Yeah, from Silent Night, Deadly Night.
She played Mother Superior in Silent Night, Deadly Night, which is amazing to me. People that you would just never expect actors and actresses to be in it are in it. Bessie Palmer's in there. There's just so many people.
I think the people they picked that were actual celebrities that people would know were great. Now, I thought some of the people they picked,
they had
didn't know who the hell they were. They didn't do that good of a job. I don't know the guy's name because they never did show it, but he kept talking about the Sleepaway Camp movies and how Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3 was trash pretty much, and he just kept talking about the scene from part 1. That's all that anybody remembers.
Well, to him, I'd say that's true, and to a vast majority of people who aren't completely like maniacal about horror, that might be true too. But
I don't like that guy.
I don't necessarily
agree with him. There's a couple of guys
that
really pissed me off.
And Tony Timpone was in there too. Yeah. And that guy,
he looked like he was working off a script to me.
Yeah, it was just ridiculous. So
some of the people though that they interviewed was the only problem I had with it, and I thought it was very interesting. It was 88 minutes, and I felt it should have been like twice as long.
And as you get
all these movies,
as you get later along, they talk about Scream and the impact that had, and up to today, basically.
Yeah, they talk briefly about Hostel,
Unfortunately,
and Saul and stuff. So,
but another good thing about
movies.
the DVD version we got to talk about, to me, was the extended interviews. I think I watched all of these, by the way. You had extended interviews with, I believe, I know Joseph Fano was one because that was my favorite because he talked a lot about Hitchcock. Mm-hmm. You had, I believe, Fred Walton was another one.
Right.
And I'm thinking Bob Clark was in there because they don't actually use Bob Clark in the documentary, but he's got
talk about Black Christmas.
He's got in the extended interview section. They've got an interview with him. So there's 2 or 3 more in there that I can't really remember right now, but all of them I remember were good, to say the least.
One thing that I was thinking last night though, because they were talking with John Carpenter, and it's a rare appearance, I guess, on a movie. From
He looked
John
like
Carpenter.
he was going to melt in the sun or something. I don't know.
He did. He looked like he was allergic to the sun.
God.
He was just talking about just the basicness of Halloween and how it worked. Just a basic story of a kid who murders his sister at a young age, is locked up for like 15 years, and just escapes on Halloween night to kill people. And I was thinking, my God. Then you cut to Rob Zombie shortly after, and think of all of the shit he's working on that's just, probably complex as hell.
The backstory.
About the backstory. When what made Halloween so successful was you didn't know anything about Michael Myers, really. You just had that basic plot that he escaped one night on Halloween to kill people.
Yeah, that's probably my biggest fault with that film. But as far as going into pieces goes, if you want to check it out, give us some of the info here.
Think Film. You can check them out, thinkfilmcompany.com, and it actually comes out this Tuesday. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure you'll be able to get it, wherever.
Wherever fine DVDs are sold.
That's right. You have, for features on the DVD, you have filmmaker commentary with producers Rachel Belsky and Rudy Scalise and editor Michael Bonas. I guess is his name. I don't know. And a message from author Adam Rockoff, bonus interviews, trivia game. Trivia game. Dolby Digital 2.0, track, trailer gallery, and Spanish subtitles for all our amigos.
That's right.
So that is Going to Pieces, the rise and fall of the slasher film.